Today, against my behest and chat's insistence that I hate my men in gacha games, we'll be covering two very special men who are getting a potential upgrade here in Zenless Zone Zero 2.6. Lycaon and Harumasa were on my list of characters who would be getting a rework, but they were still behind folks like Caesar King, Juyen, and Kaleda. So make sure to like the video right now so we can tell John Zenless that we are really wanting those reworks for those girlies. But back to the men. It's time to take it over to the boys' side and do an updated review on our potential reworks of Lycaon and Harumasa. Let's first start with the character that has a slightly less invasive rework, and that's Von Lycaon. Lycaon has many roles in the past, and because of his flexible playstyle as he is proficient at many things yet a master of none, Lycaon has proven to withstand the test of time as one of, if not arguably, the best standard units because of his usages with Miyabi, Ellen Joe and Hugo, and even rupture units like Idahari. Lycaon has had to redefine himself in multiple fashions, but here today, we are going to be doing a deeper dive into what his new kit can do. First, let's break down the basics of his rework. The biggest portion of these changes can be broken down into 3 sentences, because no one ain't reading that. Heck, 1. When Neek specials assist follow-ups or the new enhanced follow-up attack Glacial Waltz hits an enemy, you reduce their ice res by 25% and allow the target to receive 30% more other attribute damage for 30 seconds. Yes, this does exclude ice for now. 2. Lycaon gains a charge point every stun window, and it's called the Encircle Prey. And when you are able to gain this charge, you can gain a back assist into the previous character in your party, and allow Lycaon to become an on-field copycat, allowing him to dodge counter, basic, and dash attack, mirroring the on-field unit for 8 seconds. 3. Attacks done in this state will not proc abilities and are strictly here for damage and dazing. Yet, if you were to cut the duration of this ability short, your next Glacial Waltz follow-up will gain in days based on the seconds left of the previous prey states. Now, of course, there are a few more nuances to this. Let's break down the enhanced follow-up attack Glacial Waltz, as this attack is Lycaon's new kick variation that'll have the ladies shedding a tear down their legs, if you catch my drift. The new assist follow-up attack Glacial Waltz, of course, inspired by Ellen Joe's Glacial Blade Wave attack, provides a bit more utility than pure damage. This attack can be procced after an assist into the field, then by holding down the basic instead of just a regular input, you can perform this quick fury of kicks that leads to this leg slam. And this whole time, you'll gain the ability to back quick assist. Once you do, Lycaon will be left on the field to, again, copy your attacks. Yet, if you do not continue to initiate attacks, he will actually leave the field like a disappointed father. But don't worry, this is not the end as we mentioned in sentence 3. If by chance you end the attack, which can be halted in 3 ways, first, you just stop attacking, 2 is chains, and 3 is ults, you will be cut off but gain a buff on the next Glacial Waltz that you perform and will gain in days. 6% per each second left in the prey state. Lastly, let's go over the changes to the additional core passive when we have our second wolf on the field. Lycaon's impact will increase by a maximum 15% at a max potential 6. As well, the additional core that grants the team 35% stun damage multiplier is not only open to the same attribute or faction anymore, but also to anomalies. I wonder who's also coming up who could use a stun damage multiplier and who's also an anomaly. So now let's actually get into the use cases of Lycaon, as he's now able to transcend the ice element class itself, now with his new ways to daze and buff. With his elemental buffs themselves, they allow to much easier justify the pairing with other elements like electric and fire, so Soldier 11s, Sambies, Seeds and Orphees, even the great Yanshin Guang now want Lycaon as the best standard option, as being paired with Zhao, who can supplement the ice for additional passive. This makes Lycaon pop the freak off in stun potential. Yet understand the stun damage multiplier can't apply unless you hit a stunned enemy, so we won't just have it all willy-nilly. But with how much Lycaon can start to contribute versus before, we don't have to imagine how much he'll provide. Yet, don't let me stop cooking, as we now see why Lycaon is anomaly enabled, as 2.6 brings about one of our newest anomaly units in a while in Aria, the lead singer of the Angels of Delusion, and being able to quick assist back to her, provide elemental damage bonus, and grant stun damage multipliers. He now serves the Intelligent Construct as the best standard option outside of Nangong Yu that comes 3 weeks past her. And again, factoring in support for the team in Zuna and Yasuha, then boom, you have a greater spread of permutations than I had initially thought possible. So good on the Angels getting one more viable team member. And just like how the Angels can gain one more team member, so can we if you guys subscribe to the channel right now. We have surprising fun guests, segments, giveaways, and more for you guys this month. So make sure to check if you guys are subscribed as we're trying to trailblaze towards 35k subscribers here on YouTube. Oh, and ring the bell for notifications to be the first one to jump in the comments. Yet, let's temper our expectations, as this mode being on field counts for him being on field, but does not count his attacks to proc abilities and or passives. Take one of the potentially strongest options for Lycaon in the Blazing Laurel, a juggernaut of a stun W engine that is Lighter's signature. Now imagine if all those basics in the 8 seconds of the prey state could contribute to this passive. You could increase your impact by back assisting and potentially get up to your max stacks, creating more ice and fire damage bonuses. But we can't necessarily have this, as unfortunately the attacks while in prey state won't contribute. But since he can quick assist, we can utilize the 25% impact increase, so it's still not bad. Now that we're mentioning W engines, let's get into how this new dynamic attack style plays into his interactions and justifies his weapon priorities. We need first to take a look at his signature, the Restraint. Before, this option was even less desirable to the Hellfire's gear. But now with Lycaon on fielding with the prey state, the Hellfire's gear actually gets indirectly nerfed, which is kind of nuts if you think about it. But this means that the Restraint relative gets slightly more lucrative or justified to use, which is not how I would have liked things to go, but sometimes things just end up that way. So even if you can't use the extra energy regen from Hellfires, the 20% scalable impact buff to your EX specials is still in play and quite impactful still. Yet what energy option does gain is the Steamed Oven, as you get ER in the advanced stat and a strong impact increase. And knowing you get some extra buffs and days from the potential rework, it might just even justify you running a 2-piece ER instead whilst you lay down the JJK jumping. Drive discs, however, stay a bit more the same, as you'll be using the more recent King of the Summit with its awesome team-wide crit damage bonus. Yet for the 2 set, consider using ER bonus to maintain double EX specials throughout your stages. The 6% impact gets less impactful because you're just performing more attacks during the prey state to compensate. So having a more consistent flow of your EX specials and energy actually becomes more of a priority than even before. Lastly, before we moved on, I thought to still mention this. The Mindscapes are still that of days of old and do not provide much more for him outside the M1 days increase and M2 miniature energy bonus. Whew, now that Lycaon is wrapped up, we wrapped up his guide. Let's get to the main course, as Harumasa is so back. Or is he? Let's dive into his new attack patterns with his altered specials, his new follow-up attacks, and awoken bonuses that could bring him to a much more viable state. Wow, he has really been training in secret. Let's begin with the general gist of Harumasa's kit upgrade. He now gains a new ability to fast track his quiver usage with his finisher attack, the EX Special Patrol. His dash attacks gain slightly more increased resistance to interruption, and he gains new abilities that are tied to his ultimate that basically streamline the kit to having you perform your ultimate during a certain point of your in-stun attack strings. Let's start at the top with the out of stun rotation, as the sickly office worker will be gaining a follow-up attack after the 4th or 5th basic of your basic string. The dash attack Hitennotsuru / ult, dodge counters, or even quick assist. This special EX will cost 60 points, very much like the original Nowhere to Run. However, this skill will instead consume the Electro Quivers and enable Electro Prison stacks. Yet, if you already do have almost max stacks on the opponent, it will consume less up to the max you are allotted. For those unacquainted with Harumasa's prison stacks, they are a part of his basic kit, being able to stack up to 8 times, lasting 10 seconds each. And this is your X mark on the opponent. Essentially, after 8 stacks, you'll have to reapply the mark by charge attacking or using other skills to shorthand the prison X mark. But not before you make sure that your stun window is prepared with at least 1 to 2 bars full. And better yet, let's say that you're in the middle or end of a stun rotation and you have an EX with you. You'll just end up using your full rotation of your dash attacks and you're left with 1 more EX special. You pop this after the last dash attack and boom, an instant burst of extra damage. Then when it comes to the actual stun window itself, your chain and ult will be able to generate enough quivers for you to do at least 12 to 14 combo within the allotted stun window. And that's on average, and not even considering the 7 that you could potentially get during the pre-stun run-up, like I do here while I was being taught by the godfather of Harumasa, R2.
Yeah. There you go.
And ult.
Okay, ult.
Clear mind.
Then start holding basic.
Yep.
Start holding. There you go. And now basic 5.
Oh, did I input it?
It's fine. You can EX.
Keep it up.
Okay, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. You
Okay,
can.
yeah.
Almost out. You have to click one more time.
Wait a minute. Next, outside the dash attacks, any enemy attacks are ignored off of dash 1, which is quite minimal, but allows for the insurance of the dash attack chain. You have your ultimate, which not only gains a new additional follow-up attack, but enables the new passives for extra buffing opportunities. Let's begin this portion with the new Zashin, Shattered Blossom attack. Very much like how Lycaon adopted a bit from his co-worker Ellen Jo, Harumasa actually borrows Miyabi's Charge 2 Enhanced Basic and fires off 5 arrows in a wide area. But don't fear, for any unit caught in this cone will receive the same damage, so you do not need to be at shotgun range to get its full damage potential. It's mainly here for aesthetics and to even provide some AoE coverage. Then after activating the ultimate and even dash attack, the core ability kicks in. When those two attacks hit an opponent, you will gain a new effect called the Gleaming Edge. It's going to sound confusing, so let me explain then show. You can get 6 stacks total. The ultimate automatically gains 6, yet each dash attack will gain 1 stack. Each dash activation off of a single X mark of the prison stack can max out at 3, and each stack will increase the crit damage of your ult and dash by 12%, each for a total of 72% crit damage. So let's take the initial rotation that I just showed with R2's teachings. Here, I utilize the 3 and 4 dash combo to start the pre-stun window. This allows me to get 3 and 3 stacks for a total of 6 gleam. This can then be utilized after the chain to launch an ultimate that refreshes me another 6 stacks. Then I can follow that up with my regular dash attack rotation and then end up with an EX special patrol. And boom, that's the Kane's box combo of General Harumasa. Yet we're not even done with the dashes and ults, as with the additional passive on the potential 2 upgrade, when you activate an EX special, chain, or ult, your attacks can increase by max 12%, and dash attacks followed after will ignore 15% electric res for 12 seconds, essentially for the rest of the stun window, and can extend the core passive of the Gleam's Edge to 10 seconds, basically doubling the duration of these stacks and allowing for you to 100% make sure these buffs apply to your whole stun window. It's actually quite convenient. So let's add up the buffs. 25% crit rate from the OG core passive, 72% crit damage total with your 6 Gleam stacks, 12% attack, and 15% electric res ignore. This is probably one of the best upgrades we've seen out of the potential reworks. And so with those numbers in mind, let's head straight over to the build section. Now folks, we'll be pleasantly surprised that most of his build actually doesn't get affected much, as the alterations generally give instead of trade or alter the way he interacts with his passives. The W engines are quite similar in performance, as the standouts are his signature, the Zashin's Herb Case, Brimstone, and Cordis Germina as the higher synergy options. Then you can also substitute them with alt stack sticks like the Heartstring Nocturne, Severed Innocence, and Myriad Eclipse. A ranks have always been the same in Marcato's Desire, Starlight Engine, and even the alt Drill Rig if, well, you're really out of options. So just like Harumasa, he won't be making us do any overtime to help him build anything new. For Drive Disc, the Shadow Harmony provides strong attack and crit rate bonuses, and if you're running a budget option like the Brimstone, or just need more crit rate subs, this will be your best option. Then let's get into the more spicier ones, that being the Thunder Metal. This option is strictly for Qingyi users before, yet it can be proposed now with his new EX special and pseudo on-field play that has him and Trigger and potentially Rina who could do the trick. Unfortunately, I don't have the strict numbers for this, but understand that I've playtested it and it's very consistent. And of course, the Woodpecker is the good old reliable, but definitely falls flat for Haru, who now does even more within the stun window, leaving the prior 2 choices as the primary options depending on your level of investment, team comps, and overall experience with the character. Main stats generally stay the same, but with considerations of the extra 72% crit damage. You could see the 4th slot going to an attack instead of crit damage if you are min-maxing. 5th slot will be electric, no doubt. Attack will be a good secondary option. Yet pen ratio still actually becomes a viable option because the electric res ignore is based off of the element and not defense itself. Then the 6th slot will be, well, you guessed it, attack percent. Team variations are just as they were before, with Chingy and Trigger leading two different variations of Harumasa style. You can also run Dial In to make use of the amazing ultimate, and her overall buffs are just way too strong to ignore. And then there's even a potential for folks like Lycaon to come in with his extra elemental bonus buff and stun damage multipliers. Yet one option that I wouldn't be surprised that would work is that of a non-Gongyu and Suna Angel's Core. But for me to talk more about that, you guys have to subscribe when we come out with the earliest access for you. And let's talk supports. Nicole is just outright nasty as a support option, as per usual, as her defense down will pair well with the elemental ignore that Harumasa has. And don't forget about our good old reliable mono electric 10 support in Rina. And in all honesty, Rina I would suspect to be on the chopping block for a new awakening pretty soon. So be on the lookout for that. As with Harumasa and Rina's fun projective shenanigans, like with this 4-2-2 quiver stun start, inspired and pioneered by Linol, you can clearly see the fun interactions can produce even more fun numbers and results. Mindscapes are also generally unaffected. However, the M1 allowing for more quiver generations personally gets underutilized because there is only so much time within a stun window. Well, unless we were to utilize someone who could extend the stun duration like a Dial In. And just like I mentioned with Lycaon, Mindscapes for Harumasa are actually relatively unaffected, but again, the interactions with the M1 increasing his range of prison stacks actually bodes well with his new EX special, so be on the lookout for that. And there you have, folks, my whole review and guide breakdown of our two awoken men. Yet Harumasa being in a similar situation as Ambi and not having a rerun or appearance in a while spells that he should be arriving somewhat soon, whether that be a rerun banner or just being added to the standard rotation or battle pass redemption shop. Whatever be the case, we now have much more use cases and strength packing into these two 1.x units to bring them a bit closer to the action here at the tail end of 2.x. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to please like, as in February, we are going crazy with our giveaways. This is my birthday month, so I want to be able to give something back to you guys. So every week we are going to be hosting a all skin giveaway, and that's going to one lucky subscriber and commenter of our videos from this week. So make sure to check out both of our Suna guides and our previous other videos on who to pull. Yet speaking more broadly, thank you so much for watching, and if you're coming from the farther future, I hope this video guide allows you to acclimate to the changes of our two boys in Lycaon and Harumasa. But for now, I gotta get back to the editing bay. The mind's call for me. With that, my name is Josh. Again, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Matane.